And at this point, if you don't mind, I want to give to you an update. I want to give to you something from my own personal experience that I pray makes sense to you, that I pray helps you understand the point that I believe we all are asked that question. In order to do so, this is deeply personal to me. I'm asking you to pay real attention to what I'm about to say, because it's very, very personal to me. And I'm praying that you will understand what I'm saying. I'm greatly concerned that you may not. I got saved in 1970. I started teaching the Bible in 1973. In 1974, I came out here to Ontario, began ministry, and ultimately we planted a church in the city of Ontario. And God has blessed us in many ways. As long as I can remember, I have had good health. Good health, always. I can't remember a time that I didn't. I had my appendix removed. That's no big deal. I broke my wrist. That's no big deal. I broke an ankle. That's no big deal. I had hepatitis. It's no big deal. None of that's a big deal. That's all just basically growing up and eating bad food or being stupid. But in 2001, some of you know this, I suffered through temporary amnesia. It didn't cause me any concern. I think some things are worth forgetting anyway. So it didn't create any great concern in my heart. But some of you were with me here in this fellowship last September, a few months ago now, when I had gone to Calvary Chapel in Kendall, Florida, to do a couples retreat, and on a Wednesday night, while teaching, I lost my memory, was hospitalized for 3 days. And I came back and I shared with you some of the things about that. I haven't given you a whole story, and I'm about to give it to you now. And it's a very deeply personal story. I haven't wanted to tell you. In my family, sometimes Dad keeps things to Dad. In my church family, sometimes Pastor keeps things to Pastor. And I don't like to cause ripples. And I know people don't understand, and I know people get fearful, and I know people will leave the church because they misunderstood something that was said. I've seen that. I've been in ministry 34 years. I've seen it many times. People only hear what they want to hear. So I get nervous when I open my heart. So I'm taking a chance with you right now. You know, when I was a little boy, my mama used to say to me, "Son, you're too open. You got to kind of keep some things to yourself. You talk too openly." That's me. That's the way I've always been. And I'm not going to change now. I can't. So I think it's time to share some things with you. You need to know that when I suffered my memory lapse, that it was much more serious than I let you know. You need to know that when I came back, I started going to doctors and had a series of medical examinations. That I went to a neurologist, one of the finest in Southern California, and he gave me what is called a PET scan. I had an EEG and EKG. And as I took this PET scan, and he was giving to me the results, Randy and Jeanette Walls, who are our dearest friends, and Marie and I went to the doctor. I fully expected for him to give me some good news, get it over with. But as I'm sitting there in the office with him, and he opens up the chart and has all of these x-rays and this and that, his results, he says, "I'm concerned for you. You have damage to your frontal lobes, both right and left. I need to send you to another specialist." And therefore I did go. I went to what is called a neuropsychologist, and I took a battery of tests that relate to memory. There were something like 7 different tests. It took 2 hours. And as I took these tests, at the conclusion of the test, I'm sitting there across from this woman who's a Christian woman, and she looks at me, and Marie's sitting next to me, and she says to me, "Well, you did well on 5 categories. There are 2 that give me major concern." Long story made short, I said, "So what are you saying?" And she says to me, now listen carefully to the whole story, please. She said to me, "You have dementia." Dementia. So I said, "I'm a layperson. I don't know what you're talking about." "What does that mean?" She said, 2 of the categories are critical. It means you're going to lose your memory. I said, "Really? Tell me the truth. How many years do I have?" "Got 7. I said, "I have 7 years." She said, 7. Lose weight, do certain diets, etc., 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 exercise. So I turned to Marie, sitting next to me, as she does through everything I go through. And I say, it's heavy. I said, "Baby, why don't you take care of the rest of this? I'm going outside." So I go to my car. She takes care of the bill. Some of you have been in your car, driver's side, 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock. While my wife's walking out the door, my mind is racing. 7 years. 65. And I won't recognize my wife. I won't see my grandkids. I won't know what it's like. Have you been there? Some of you have. Everything stops for a moment. Everything. And I think, my church? Well, we go home. I get a call from my doctor. "You need to take some blood work." So I go and take a panel of blood tests. And then the neurologist calls and says, "I'd like you to have you come in now." And I said, "I'm not going in. I forgot to go in." I'm not going in. It was right around the time we were going to go to Hawaii. And I said to Maria, "I'm going to Hawaii." "Aloha. I'm not going in." I said, "Any news that he has for me can wait for 2 weeks." So we went and we enjoyed ourselves and relaxed. And I come back and I remember driving to the doctor, and I turned to Marie, and I've got tears in my eyes, and I said to her, "Be honest with you, baby girl, I'm nervous. I'm a little afraid. I don't know. I don't want to hear what he's going to say. I'm afraid." So we get there, and as is normal, "Please be here at 10, so he sees me at 11. And I sat in his room for 45 minutes. He comes out, opens up his material. Marie's sitting directly across from me, and I'm staring at her because I can handle it. Believe it or not, I can handle it. I worry about my wife. He looks at me and he says, "You know, sometimes we make mistakes in our diagnosis. You're okay."